and welcome to Hannah's Happy Space. I'm Hannah. Haven't been here for a while, so there might be a few ums and ers. It's been about 6 months since I last podcast, and I'll get around to explaining about that shortly. So to start off with, let me tell you who I am. You might be a returning viewer. If you are, thank you so much. Welcome back. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Very welcome here. Hopefully you enjoy what you see over the next however long it might be. Like I said, my name is Hannah. I live in a town on the edge of Dartmoor in Devon. I live with my sister Cara, my older sister, and her son, my nephew Sebi, who is 9. If you've been here before, you'll have seen both of them. Sebi's been in a couple of podcast episodes. He's also been on the vlogs at Vlogmas 21, as was Cara. So that's who I am. The podcast. So it hasn't been on, like I said, for about 6 months or so. I think it might have been the end of the summer holidays in 2022. Yeah, that's right. That I last podcasted, and I haven't been on Instagram a huge amount. Nothing to panic about. There's no major issues going on. But I thought I might just share with you why I haven't been here. Some of you who have been here before might know that I have in the past and now suffer with anxiety. And I think what they refer to it as is imposter syndrome. Not a proper illness, as it were, but it is described as, see, lots of sorry about that. It's described as not feeling you are good enough, but actually are. So that you're talented enough or capable enough to do what it is you want to do, basically. And that's a little bit how I was feeling about my crafts. I'm just looking to see what I've got. Knitting and crocheting, that kind of thing. That really, there are a lot more talented people out there. You know, you could be watching anybody on YouTube right now who does incredible things with yarn, you know, artists, if you like. Same with Instagram. I mean, with Instagram, I've been there in the background joining in and, you know, looking at everybody else's photos, which sometimes is not the best of ideas. Sometimes maybe a little social media break can do. But I have had a little chat with myself, if you like, and other people have made comments recently that made me think, actually, maybe I should give this another go and capable of doing it. Some of you will know that I am very good friends with lovely Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit, and she, as lovely as she is, and I'm sure she's not being biased just because she's my friend, is always telling me and other people how clever I am, which is very lovely. I'm not very good at compliments. Also lovely Davina at Little Workroom Crafts. Recently me and Sebi sent a picture into her What Have You Been Up To Wednesdays, and she referred to me as his very talented auntie, which is very kind of her. Yeah, just comments like that. So, you know, I've got a fair number of subscribers here. I'm never going to be one of those people who does this as a living, who's got thousands and thousands of followers, but I enjoy doing it. And really, you know, there's a lovely community of crafters out there, and I should try and get a little bit more involved sometimes, I think. So thank you for listening to me ramble about that little bit. You might be thinking, what on earth is she on about? But yeah, thank you. Just a little vent before we start. And don't worry, there is knitting and crochet to show you. For those of you that don't know, I am what might be called a multi-crafter. I knit and crochet are my two main crafts, I suppose. I'm just looking at everything today that I'm going to show you is either knitting or crochet. But I sew and cross stitch, and I used to paper craft, and I'll kind of have a little go at most things. and normally get a bit hooked on them and end up with heaps and heaps of stuff, which I'm just peeping round. Over that side of the house is the conservatory, craft room. It had become the dumping ground, and yesterday me and Cara had a little bit of a tidy up. I mean, it's not tidy, but you can at least see the floor, walk through it without tripping over something. So yeah, that's getting there. So hopefully I'll get back to the sewing machine soon as well. Do you know what? I didn't check what the date is today. And I've got nothing on me to check what it. 2 seconds I have. This is, let me just have a quick look, just in case you're interested. It is, oh, this doesn't tell me what the date is. Never mind. It will be on the timestamp and everything, won't it? But it is Sunday today. No one else is in. It's something of March, I'll give you that much, 2023. Yeah, so another thing I should probably tell you is what I am wearing today. This is a crochet cardigan. It's a very long cardigan. You can make it as long as you like. It is a pattern by Sam Sabido, who is Adventures in Crafting. I'll put everything I talk about will be in the description box below with links if I can. Sam Sabido, yeah, this is the designer of this one. This is called the JAYGO Jacket, JAYGO, which is join as you go. So all of these squares were joined with the grey as you went around. The only difference I made was the sleeves. So in the pattern, the sleeves are made up of granny squares like the rest of the cardigan. But what I wanted to do, I've gone round and round, and it's so I could decrease a little bit, because otherwise the sleeves would have been really wide. And I just used some of the colours that are in the blanket cardigan, whoops, in the cuffs, in the sleeves. So that is that. I suppose it is similar to a crochet blanket, but it looks much nicer on than having wrapped myself in a crochet blanket. Anyway, let's move on from there. I'm finding it very difficult knowing where to sit, where to put myself, so that I'm definitely in the camera, but that I don't look like I'm sort of disappearing, because normally I'd sit over that way in the chair in front of my shelves, but that's not there at the moment. So I've had to sit on the sofa, and this is where I sit anyway, you know, watching the telly, blah, blah, blah. But this is where I normally do all my knitting and crochet. And I don't normally sit upright like this. I'm normally a bit more sort of disappearing into the back of the sofa, with this nest, we call it, over here, which has got all the that I'm going to show you today, and is relatively tidy. Normally I mean, there's project bags and things there that I'm going to show you in a minute, but it's normally a lot messier. Balls of random wool, projects that I'm working on, jumpers that I've taken off and thrown over there. If you're a knitter, crocheter, you probably got something similar. If you live with another knitter, crocheter, they've probably got something similar. I'm going to out my mother, and that's where the nest has come from, because she has the biggest of nests. You find all sorts in amongst her. I've sat down there before and found a fork. I mean, what's that doing there? Sorry, Mum. Anyway, shall we get on and actually look at something that I've been up to after 10 minutes almost of utter rambling. Don't think there's anything else that I need to tell you about. Last little bit, if you like what you're seeing here and you're on Instagram, like I say, I am on Instagram and I have started posting again. You can follow me over there at Hannah's_happy_space. Again, that'll be down in the description box. Right, that is definitely it. Let's get on and show you something that I've actually done, shall we? We'll start with the finished objects. let's start with this one. I don't know how I'm going to show you this very well because it's quite big. I think I've got some photos of it actually. If not, I will take some and I'll put them in after I've chatted about it. Let me show you it slightly folded up. This is a crochet project that once was a knitting project. I'm trying to get hold of it all. So this is it slightly folded up. The colours aren't coming out as well as they actually are. It is super, super bright neons. I've got all the lights on today. The light isn't very good. Today the weather's actually not raining for a change, but it's not great. I don't know if I go any closer to the camera. Not really, which is a real shame because I love neons. I love brights. Yeah, and if you've been here before, like I say, I mean, you can tell from what I'm wearing, I like bright colours. And this is by one of my favourite dyers. This is by James Makes Yarn. And you have seen some of these bits before. This originally was a jelly roll blanket by Kay. Oh, what's Kay's surname? It's gone. Kay from Bakery Bears. Yeah, and the yarn was a monthly subscription, the mini Kaleidoscope Club, and they were 20 gram minis, and you had 5 every month. I don't have it anymore. Yeah, 5 every month, I think it was. And I was just using it in random sized pieces to make the bits of the jelly roll, and then it got put in a bag and forgotten about for a long time. So when I came across it, I thought, I'm not making this. I obviously don't want to make it if it's been sat in a bag for so long. And I ripped it all out, much to my sister's disgust, because she cannot bear yarn that's not in a ball or caked or in being well behaved. If she sees you have to frog something, she has to cover her eyes, she can't look at it. She finds it very distressing just because you've gone wrong. You've gone wrong and you have to get rid of all the work you've done, but just wool in a mess she can't cope with. I mean, even if to the point where it's just in a bit of a twiddle. I mean, she's been doing some embroidery recently, just outing all my family of all the terrible, well, not terrible, but you know, some of the weird things they do. Embroidery. She's been doing some embroidery recently, and you know, sometimes if you've sewn with embroidery floss, you'll know it does that sort of twiddly. It's not a proper knot. If you pull it hard enough, it'll come out. That'll happen, and she'll just go, oh, no, can't do it, can't do it. You do it. So to watch me pull out half a blanket is very distressing for her. But what has been made, well, we're all very pleased that I don't let anybody else use this blanket, because it is all beautiful hand-dyed 4-ply. I have a 9-year-old nephew, as mentioned, who's grubby. That's just the only word for him. Bless his heart. So, you know, we have a lot of blankets, so he can use one of the nice acrylic ones, but they go in the washing machine a lot easier. This is 75% merino and 25% nylon, apart from the black, which I can't remember the makeup of it, but it is a Debbie Bliss 4-ply Rialto. I actually picked this up because I knew I wanted black because obviously all these colours. It was on a sale on Lovecraft, so I think I had like a pack. I don't think I went as far as 10 balls. I think I had that 5 or 6 balls for less than £20. So I probably should tell you what the pattern is. I've been waving it around like a loony, trying to show you the colour, as many different colours as possible. But it's such a shame they're not showing up as bright as they are, because I mean, this here is showing quite almost pastely on my screen. I don't know what it'll look like on yours, but that is an absolute neon highlighter yellow. Same with the pink next to it, is really bright. So this is a C2C corner to corner crochet blanket. So each of these squares are made with just under 10 grams of each mini. So I split them in two. And they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're 10 by 10 blocks. If I try and get one a little bit closer. There we go. So you can see that each one is a little block. This blanket was inspired by lovely Alex over at My Yarny Corner. She has a YouTube channel. She has her Instagram page. She has a lovely shop where she dyes her own yarn with her partner. But she also has on her YouTube channel a tutorial on how to make this blanket. I don't think she does exactly the same size squares as I did. Can't quite remember. But she tells you how to make the squares, how to join them as you go. So no sewing together. I have done C2C before, quite a while ago. And it's not something that comes naturally to me to think, oh yeah, that's how you do it. Start like you would say at Granny Square, which I don't even have to think about. That can be done no problem. So this tutorial was really helpful. So if you haven't had a go, or you like me had forgotten how to do it, really worth watching. I'll link it underneath. So that is all of the different colours that came. And then, like I said, they took just under 10 grams per square, so I had some left. And I'm one of those people who is maybe referred to as a hoarder, I don't know. But definitely when it comes to wool, and especially hand dyes, I can't throw bits away. And I'm talking, I mean, grams, which I'll show you later. So with all the bits that were left over, obviously this needed bordering. So I started off by doing, it's hard to show you in black, oh there we go, just basic trebles, so UK trebles, a thick black border all the way around, and then I used up all the bits, the leftovers, same stitch, just going round and round. And there wasn't enough of each colour to do one whole thing, so one whole repeat round. So partway through, like here, you can see there was this like multicoloured here, and then it becomes pink. So it's just using everything up. And then in between, I have got half trebles. The black, just to separate them up, and then repeated that same thick black border there. And it is a fair size. There are 6 blocks, and then 3, 6, 9. So 6 by 10 blocks, and then with the big sort of 5-inch border, maybe. It's a fair size that doesn't, it covers me up nicely. Yeah, it's had a lot of use. It has been finished for some time. It was on my Instagram a while ago, but I hadn't shown you on here, and I wanted to because I'm very, very pleased with it. So let's talk about something else. I've got to remember, because I haven't done this for a while, to not talk to myself, so the image of me on the screen, and to look at the camera. Sorry, that's probably quite frightening. Pointing at you. Yeah, look that way. Okay. If I keep looking down, I've got my notes under the camera. I'm just going to have a quick drink, sorry. My tiny coffee cup. Sorry, hopefully that wasn't too gulpy. Okay, next one. Honeycombs. Again, this one's been finished for a little while, been worn a few times, well, a fair few times actually. And it's another big thing to try and fit in to show you. This is Painting Honeycombs Shawl by Stephen West. I'm a big Stephen West fan. There are a couple of other, no, just the one other Stephen West I've got to show you today, I think. Yes. But I do very much like his patterns. So you'll have seen lots of them before, or you'll continue to see more. I'll just show you what I've got. This is the honeycombs. This is a small honeycombs, as in the actual honeycomb shape is small. The shawl itself is enormous. I'll try and show you as much of it as I can. Which end shall I start? Let's go up here. So this is the cast off edge. So again, the colours aren't showing up as bright as they are. And again, this is lovely James. James Makes Yarn. This was his 12 Days of Kitschmas from 2021, which I had been waiting and waiting to find the right thing to do with. And then this came along. So let me see if I can show you a little bit closer. No. What about if I go back here? No. Again, if you see pink, say here, it is pink. It is highlighter neon pink, and this is completely random. So as the name suggests, there were 12 mini skeins, 20 gram mini skeins. So every stripe is a different colour, and I did it completely randomly. So the first 12 was one of every colour, and then instead of repeating it, I just had them all in my project bag and just picked one out each time, as long as it wasn't, you know, the same colour or the same as the one before, because I don't like them to be too close together. It went in, and I mean, you wouldn't necessarily look at all the colours and think, oh yeah, they're all going to work together, but because they're all so bright and you can tell they're all from the same set, I think I can always tell what with James's yarn is what's his, really. So I love it. I love bright colours. I love random. Which way around have I got it here? Okay. Yeah, and I think it works really well random. I would have worked perfectly well in a pattern order. I think I did a couple of extra rows. I can't remember exactly, because then I'd have an equal number of every colour rather than finishing off where it said. I think I probably did 2 or I can't remember. Wasn't a huge amount. At most it was about 5. So the big shawl became an even bigger shawl, but I wanted to have the same number of colours. The dark grey that is in between is, read the notes, Hannah, it's written there. It's a Regia silk 4-ply, and so it took 200 grams of the main colour, not a complete 200 grams, there was some left. Excuse me. And I think the colourway is Anthracite, but I think it's Regia German. I'm not 100% sure. The colour names on the labels, if they are on the labels at all, are not in English. So, I mean, I know I used to work in a wool shop. So when ball bands just have a number on them, the shade, they do actually have a name. So when we used to put them into the system on the computer, they had a name. When you ordered them from the catalogue, they had a name. So I don't, why they don't just put it on the ball band, I don't know. Anyway, one super big, super warm shawl. I love it. And like I say, it has been worn quite a bit already. It's quite chilly where I live. I think all of England's been very chilly recently, so I can't complain. But yes, one of my favourites. Okay, now you see a theme, brights and greys. So I'm thinking where to put it. Where have I put the blanket? Oh, I've just thrown it on the floor. So that could go in the pile. I tidied it all so I knew where everything was, could get it all. By the end of here, at the end of this is going to be carnage, and I'm going to speed up because we're 25 minutes in. Next Stephen West project, slightly different colour palette this time with the brights, obviously. This is the Painting Waves shawl, and that's showing up a little bit truer to colour actually. This again was a Christmas 21 set. This is, I'll show you a bit better in a minute, is it was 12 Days of Christmas, and the theme was gemstones from Rainbow Fusions. See if I can get all the colours in. So this one I have gone in order. I put them in rainbow-ish order, so in colour gradient order. So it starts with this sort of grey here, and then follows up through. That purple showing really dark, but it's quite a nice pinky purple. And this green here is greener, not so blue. So Painting Waves is this, obviously this wave design, and then I'll show you, there we go, this eyelet bit in between to create the waves. The contrast colour that I have used, this white, I don't know if you can see, oh, it's not going to show up, but it has got sparkle in it is what I'm trying to show you. Can you just about pick it up? I'm just waving it round at you. No. Trust me, it's got a silver sparkle through it. It is Regia 4-ply Soft Glitter in Snow White. I haven't blocked this one. It's another big shawl. I don't think it needs blocking, to be honest. The wave pattern is pretty visible, pretty obvious. The in-between is garter stitch, and I always find if you block that, if you've got to be careful that it doesn't lose its squish. The only thing that would benefit from the blocking is this cast off end. It follows the wave, so it should be like that. And obviously it doesn't roll too much because it's an I-cord bind off. If you're a Stephen West fan, you will know everything has an I-cord bind off. But yeah, it's a little bit more asymmetric than the honeycomb one, but that is how I'd go about it. I haven't worn this one yet. Right, time to get it out now. So that is that one. I'm doing it again. I'm looking at me and not the camera. I'm so sorry. It's probably very off-putting. Okay, that one. Next finished object, another shawl. Now, if you watch, excuse me, if you watch Ruth, lovely Ruth at Ruth Loves to Knit, you'll have seen several of these, and that is where I also came across this pattern. It is finished. This one does need blocking, so that's just all that needs doing for this one. This is called the Slip Crazy Shawl and is by Chit Knits. Again, it's a bright one. So let me move it a bit closer. This one you knit with 2 balls of wool, and they encourage you to use as different of balls of wool as you possibly can. Self-striping, highly variegated, and then you need a solid colour for in between each one, which I've used minis for. But let me just show you, let me get it the right way round. There we go. So I've used 2 very variegated colours. I haven't got the ball bands, but I have got what was left over. So we've got this colour here. Focus. That one is Rainbow Fusions, not showing up as bright as it is in real life. That looks very pastel-y. It is a lot brighter. It's not zing neons like the others that I've shown you. It's probably what they might call a pastel neon. Don't think I can get it. Just move it round. No, definitely brighter. And the other one that I've got that I did alongside is Felt Fusions, and this is a zebra yarn, and that is, oh, that's better. That's a real bright. Yeah, so that's what was left over. They were both 100 grams, and together they made this patterning. In between each section I've used a different colour, so I just had a set of minis that were neons, so that's what I used to separate. The bottom edge is, I use this bright purple, but it's really rolling, so it definitely needs blocking to sort that out, but it also needs blocking to stretch it to get the full size. So that's, where do I look? That's that one. So that's the Slip Crazy Shawl by Chit. Okay, put that to one side. One more finished object. Pop it back up there. Oh no, it's not, sorry. I've got a couple more. I forgot about those. Let me show you these really quickly first, because socks are socks. You'll know if you've been here before, I'm sock knitter. I use the basic sock along pattern from Winwick Mum. I don't very often do pattern socks. I like a nice round and round and round, always got a sock on the go type of sock. So let me just show you the ones that I've got. I've knit so many socks recently. Sebi had a pair which he shows all the colours for, which were lovely. They're different coloured cuffs, different coloured leg, different coloured heels, or everything. He's got littleish feet, I should say. He's 9, but he's got nearly a size 4 foot. So he's had a pair. Harry, my brother, had a pair for Christmas. He always has double knit socks, but I normally do 2 strands of 4-ply held together for him, just because that's what I've got in stash. So he's a size 10, so he had some. My other brother Dominic had 3 pairs, I think, when he came up last. He's moved to Plymouth with his girlfriend, so he was visiting. He took away 3 pairs, 1 pair of double knit, 2 pairs of 4-ply, and he has somewhere between a 12 and a 13 size, very wide foot. It's a shame actually that I didn't keep a pair, because there's been yarns that I've not used before. Stylecraft, it was head over heels, which is their sock yarn, but it's Nature's Walk is the what's the word I'm looking for? The set of colours. I can't think how to describe that. They were very nice. Anyway, he had 3 pairs. His girlfriend Charlotte, she had a pair for Christmas. Then she took 2 pairs away with her. She's got size 7 foot. You know, there's been a lot of socks on the go. Anyway, let me show you the ones that I've got instead of rambling on about ones I haven't. First pair. There are 2. Just as proof. More bright colours. This was a sock set that I had for Christmas a couple of years ago now. Hair on them, sorry. So the sock set was this main colour, which is Fireworks, along with this neon pink that's not showing neon there. I don't know why. No. yeah, so that's what came with it from Rainbow Fusions. And then I, from Stash, had a neon orange and a neon yellow that I've used for cuffs and toes. So that's the first pair. Second pair are a Scrappy pair. If you don't like mismatched socks, look away now if it distresses you. I didn't realise, I always thought, oh, you know, socks are socks, doesn't matter if they completely match. Obviously, some people are very much of the different opinion. These don't match at all. They're Scrappy socks, but they both have, God, they're so big I can't fit them in. I'm size 8 foot. These are quite long. They both have the same yarns in that were leftovers or minis that I had. Some bits have got glitter in, some bits haven't. Some are my own, hand dyed. So those are my Scrappy pair. I really need to get some sock blockers to show you better, really. There's number 1 and number 2. And the last pair of socks that are finished are these. These look really small for an 8, but I've tried them on and they fit, so I'm not going to worry. Anyway, this pair here, there are 2. This is this main colour here is from Siobhan Crafts, and this was from a Disney monthly subscription that I had 2 years ago. Must be 2 years ago now. And it's Sleeping Beauty. And the blue that I've got with it is a West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. I think in sherbet, but I'm not sure. Not 100% on that one. So that's 3 pairs of socks. Okay, 2 seconds. I think this is a cold cup of coffee now. But it'll do for a minute. Okay, last finished project definitely is this guy. If you're a knitter, if you're on Instagram, if you haven't seen this little this little guy, where have you been? He's all over Instagram. There are little people who make little stop motion films with him. Super, super cute. I have actually made 3 of these. Let me tell you what it is first. The pattern is Frog. That's what the pattern's called. Frog. By Claire Garland, who is Dot Pebbles. His jumper does come off. That's a separate pattern that comes with this, that is made for this, I should say. So, actual frog. This one is probably the biggest one that came out, because this was my test one, and I just went in and rummaged through my stash, excuse me, to see what I had, and it is 2 strands held together. The lighter green is Shepier's Spirit, and the darker green is Drops Nord. The pattern, I think, is for a 4-ply and like a mohairish type yarn, hairy yarn if you like. Excuse me. So I went with those. His tummy is just a scrap of DK cream that I had out there. And his little jumper is a bit I had left over of my own hand dyed that I knit Sebi a cowl with. So you only needed a tiny bit of that, and I was so pleased with him. I always thought he was going to be far too fiddly for me to make, and he's not. There's not a lot of sewing up to do because his arms and legs are knitted attached. You do have to sew his tummy to his main body, but yeah, super, super cute. I have seen people on Instagram knit these with the sewing thread. Madness. I mean, this was fairly fiddly. just getting it in the right place really with his legs and things. I haven't managed to make one yet whose legs look like they're in the right place. If my brothers, Harry or Finley, are watching, they will know exactly what I'm talking about because they both have a frog. I don't think I have any photos of them. If I do, I'll put them in. Finley had a green, bright green frog with a blue and orange jumper that went away to Cardiff with him, back to uni. And Harry has a purple frog with an orange frog with a purple belly with blue and orange jumper. No, I can't remember what colour it is. Green and blue? Might be green and blue. Anyway, Finley's legs, I don't know if I put them backwards or what, because I gave it to Finley and he couldn't stop laughing. I think one sort of almost pointed backwards. Anyway, he loves it. He says it adds character. And Harry's is pretty similar. You can put wire in them, but you have to knit around the wire, and that sounded far too fiddly for me. I like his little wiggly legs. He sits on the fireplace like this, you know, kind of thing. And he's more than happy there. But yes, I'm very pleased. I've been wanting to make one of these for a long time. There will be more to come. In fact, I think there's half a yellow frog in a bag somewhere. Probably find him out and help him out. But yes, I can't say much more about this lovely little frog. So that is the last finished object. Thank goodness, you all say. Stop rambling on and get on with it. Yes, so following finished objects are the whips, works in progress, and I shall get on and show you those straight away. What one shall I start with? This one in here. This is in my own EPP bag. In here are the start of a pair of socks. Is that a ball will attach to that? Yes. So I don't know. I'll try and roll this down a little bit so you can try and see what's tucked away in here. So in here are lots of little, about 10 gram-ish balls of wool. These are all the bits that were left over from this shawl. Also some of the neon bits that were in this shawl, and any other bits that were in my stash that would work in this pattern. These again are inspired by Alex from my Yarny Corner. She was making a pair of these over Vlogmas with her Advent, and they looked very nice. So I thought, oh, I've got lots of little bits. Where's that gone? Lots of little bits that I could use up and make a lovely pair of rainbow socks. These socks are called Old Sweatshirt Socks, and they're by Knit-Tail, I think is how it's said. They are oversized slouchy socks. So this, I'm just about ready to do the heel flap. So you've got this, excuse all the ends, so many ends to sew in. I don't mind sewing ends in socks actually, because I'm not really sure how else to do ends on socks. I don't do magic balls and things with socks. I'm worried they'll, you know, come apart. Anyway, stop jabbering. There's the cuff, which is your normal cuff, normal cast on size for your what you'd normally do, and then you increase. So you've got this wider leg, and it's also a rib. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, by the way, so I'm not giving too much away. Yeah, you've got this ribbed section, and then you get this garter row. So if I had a sock blocker, I could show you properly. They're gonna all scooch up, slouch down. I'm doing them in a rainbow because I love a rainbow, and I've just got to this section here before the heel, and I have taken Alex's advice and decreased, so you decrease back down to the same as your cuff size before you do the heel flap. But she said she did a few extra rows after that because otherwise the heel slips down. So I've just done that, and then I'm ready to do, I'll do the usual heel flap and gusset, slip stitch heel, gusset, and then onto the foot. I think I'm not sure, to be honest, I haven't read through the pattern properly yet. I think in the pattern it's a plain foot, but I think I'll carry on and do this sort of rib along the top. That is why they are so long, because they are slouchy, wearing around the house socks. So that is the start of the first sock. That can go in there. Oh, with a little tally of everything I've been doing. So that's those. Next in my Jurassic Park bag, one of my favourite films. That's why I've got a Jurassic Park bag. Amelia X Joy. That is in here. Oh, I've just got to remember which ball's attached. There's 2 balls of wool attached to this. 1 second. So, another Stephen West and another James Makes Yarn project. Oh gosh, don't look, Cara. Here we go. Now, spread it out. It's quite difficult to show you. It's a shawl. I've put it on, it's on a long cable, but it's, you know, it's a Stephen West shawl. It's got a lot of stitches, even though I'm not very far in. This has been, I was too late to join in with the knit along. Mandy from Mouse's Makes, who I have very recently discovered, who was absolutely brilliant. I have been back to the very beginning of her podcasting, and I'm catching up with her, very much enjoying them. She was running at the beginning of this year, I think it finished at the end of February, a Starflake knit along, and her and Alex, again, both made absolutely beautiful Starflakes, so I jumped on board. This is what I've got so far. Again, the colours aren't going to come out that great, so it's very difficult. There's loads of ends because I haven't sewn the ends in on my parallelograms. Let's start with the easiest colour to show you, grey. Notice the theme, dark grey, which is Drop Snored, and this is 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide, 25% wool, and this is colour 06, and I think I got this from Wool Warehouse, and it's listed on the website as dark grey mix. So that's that, and that's what it looks like in the ball. So it's not a completely solid grey, and it's quite a hairy yarn. Very nice though, and very affordable. Just throw that one in there. And I've got 2 other balls that came from James Makes Yarn. He does a lucky dip every now and again. So you get 2 balls of wool for £25. They're on a slightly, they're not on a poor quality, they're on a less high, I can't know, jabbering on. The wool that he does his lucky dips on are not as of a high quality as he sells his normal yarn on, if that makes sense. But they're not, you know, they're not rough, horrible, scratchy yarns. They're perfectly fine. I've had the lucky dips several times, and I've made, I think I showed it on here, a sockhead hat, which was made with one of them. Anyway, the 2 colours that I'm using from him are these. Now, for the Starflake, you need a main colour and a contrast colour. Now, these both came together, and when they were skeined, they looked, I mean, they didn't look the same, but they looked a little more similar. They've got the same coloured dyes in them. This one has more white, this one doesn't. This one looks more pink, I think, because I don't know if it is actually pink dye, but I know there's a purple dye that breaks and then gives out a lot of this pink. So I think that could be possibly where that comes from. Anyway, the way I've tried to work it is that I'm alternating, so they work together but are slightly different, if that makes sense. I think I'm happy with it. I'm going to keep going until I've got a bit more of the colours to be sure. So this is the slightly whiter colour, or the one with less dye on, if you like. That's, I've got 2 parallelograms of that. Then the slightly more coloured one comes out like this, in that case. Now I'm onto a striped section. I've gone with that again because I went with the white one, the brighter one, the white one, back to the other one. It's difficult to show you because it's scooched up on a cable. So there's grey to come again next. And then I think there's another stripe, so I'll go back to the whiter colour. I think it's going to be okay. I like bright colours. I like a bit of randomness. We shall see. I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with it. It's not going to be a pulled out. Oh, sorry, there's a dog. I don't know if you can hear it, but there is a dog woofing out there. Right. Oh gosh. Let's put the loose ball away first. That was the Starflake. So that's how far I've got with that one. That goes in there. Okay. What's next on the list? Oops, daisy. Okay, there's that one. I have got this little bag. One that I've made. What's in here? Oh, just vanilla travelling socks, I like to call these. What's that? Oh, that was the label for the firework socks, should you be interested. I have mentioned rainbow fusions a few times, so that's obviously what was in this bag beforehand. This is the next, oh, that's blowing out. Next yarn I'm using. It's a very pale yellow with pink, blue, peach kind of colours going through it. This is an Easter yarn from Siobhan Crafts from a few years ago. I mean, it's not very exciting. It's a vanilla sock, but it is coming up very nicely, sort of spiralling round. This is the travelling sock because it goes in the car, it goes to the coffee shop. That's that one. Not that exciting really, but thought I'd let you know what I was up to. Said I've always got a pair of socks on the go, even though I've got 2. Next, so I'm keep looking and I can see that we're getting over the 50 minutes and I don't want to bore you all for too long. What am I looking for? This massive bag that's in front of me. Just excuse me one moment while I lean forward. This arrived yesterday after having tidied the craft room and telling Cara, well, I haven't been buying any more wool. I haven't got to find a place for it. There was a knock at the door and some very rude delivery person turned up with a massive bag of wool. How shocking. They could have waited till she'd gone out. Yes, this is a crochet project that I wanted to do for a while. It is the Yuletide blanket from Attic 24, Lucy Attic 24. Came out a couple of Christmases ago, I think, and obviously was in a Christmas colourway. Lovely, but I didn't want to do it in the Christmas colourway. Can you guess? Sorry, everyone knows. I wanted to do it in a rainbow. So I went on Wool Warehouse. It'd been stuck in my head for ages. I really didn't need another project. I really didn't need to buy any more wool. But I'd been thinking about it. Thought I'll just have a play and put some colours in the basket, see how I feel. Whoops, I've pressed buy. So these are the colours that I've chosen. I've made my own little very fancy swatch card. And the colours that I have got are, which is the best way to do this? Right, you'll be able to see it a bit better when I show you the sample in a minute. Lipstick, tomato, ooh, lipstick, tomato, spice, clementine, dandelion, lime, apple, Kelly green, it's not written on the back, teal, empire, one of my favourites, proper purple, no, royal, proper purple, plum, boysenberry, fuchsia, purple. Aha. There was mustard, but when I put it next to the dandelion, it was very, very similar and would not have shown up. Let me show you how far I have got. I've done one repeat of every colour. There we go. A little bit closer so you can see the different types of stitches. It's a 3-row repeat. It's a free pattern on, as all of Lucy's blankets are, which is amazing. They are lovely. I've made lots of her blankets before. Yeah, it's a free pattern. It's a 3-row repeat in the pattern, with trebles, treble clusters and spike stitches, and it's very lovely. Like I say, this is one repeat of every colour, and you think, oh, lovely, turn it over, whoops. I am going to sew all these ends in before I do the next colour repeat. That is something I have found on projects like the scarves and things. Don't leave all the ends to the end. It's just soul destroying when you get these. Oh, I finished. No, all these ends. So I was doing like a colour repeat, sew the ends in, colour repeat. So that is what is going to happen with this one. Yeah, so that's the start of that. Okay, and that is all in Stylecraft Special DK. Excellent for blankets. That's what this is made from. Goes in the washing machine. I know it's acrylic and not everyone is that impressed with acrylic. I personally, this has to be my favourite brand of yarn. If we're not talking indie dyes, if we're talking commercial yarns, this is it. This is the one. I've got so many blankets. I'm just looking around at those blankets all done there. This blanket behind me, like I said, cardigans. It's affordable, it's a washable. I like it. Okay. Oh, that needs to go in there. Don't lose the very fancy swatch card. Whoops, she says, squashing it and ripping it and gosh knows what else. Okay, last thing to show you is, now, do you remember I said I can't throw away scraps? Can't do it. This bag here is full of scraps and minis, little bits and bobs. I mean, oh, I thought that was a tiny bit. I mean, look at that. Look how little that is. But I'm keeping it. Look at that. Oh, come on, Hannah, that is a bit much. But I will keep it. Okay, hand-dyed. I'll keep that. Look, see? This is nuts. I mean, even I'm looking at it and thinking, what's wrong? What's going on? Little tiny bits. Anyway, there is a plan to this madness. Stolen from my mother. Not the madness, the plan. And they are Scrappy. Wow, granny squares. Scrappy granny squares. What she did, and I have copied her, is to hold 2 strands of 4-ply together. I love a marled project. I've done lots of Tiffany Nealon scarves. I say lots, there's a couple that are 2 strands held together, so you get all that lovely marling. Yeah, to hold 2 strands together and crochet a granny square. She has been crocheting over her ends as she goes. Not sure how I feel about that. I know it's only a blanket, but come on. So I have bit the bullet and made a magic knot ball, which I've done for a blanket before, seemed to be fine. So I made 250-gram magic knot balls out of scraps. Yes, 150 grams, that's a total of 300 grams. And I've got all that to add to it. And then I just, granny squares. I haven't sewn the ends in yet. There's only one end, two ends. So you get all these different coloured granny squares. Just show you a couple because I've got a fair few. So they're all 4 plies. They are all hand dyes. I don't think I've put any commercial sock yarns in here. Ooh, look at that one. So you get amazing colour combinations. I've got a bag full ish. There's probably about 30 maybe in there. I'm going to make some more, obviously. I think the plan is to make them into a blanket. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's probably what they will be. I think it'll be, I mean, I could make another one of these, possibly. Who knows? But that is an ongoing long-term project. So I just thought I'd share that with you. If you too are a yarn hoarder who keeps teeny tiny scraps of very precious hand-dyed yarns, that's a possibility. You don't have to hold it 2 strands together. You could just make magic knot balls and do it, you know, scrappy socks are a big one, but when you've got as much as I have, blankets are quite a good way to go. Anyway, I think that is it. I am working, no, I've finished. I've been doing a test. I've been testing a pattern, a crochet pattern for Manatee Squares. That is finished, but I need to take some photos, let her know that it's done, and then you guys can see that as well. Also a secret project that I have been doing for a birthday present for someone. Once that has been gifted, you can see that too. So I think that is everything. I'm scanning around to make sure I haven't missed anything. To be honest, if I missed anything, I'm probably not going to show you because I've gone on rambling for about an hour. Sorry. And breathe. That was a bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. Haven't done it for a while. I'm only talking to essentially a phone, but hopefully it hasn't been too unbearable for you. You've enjoyed what you've seen. You've liked some of the things I'm making, maybe even given you an idea of something to do yourself. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about nonsense, to be quite honest. I will see you again soon. I'm not going to say when, because I don't want the pressure. If you want to follow me on Instagram as well as here on YouTube, the details are below. I am trying to get a bit more on there. Yeah, so I think that is everything. If you enjoyed the video, you can give it a little like, that's lovely. Or if you're new, you could possibly subscribe. Leave me a comment with all that normal YouTube jazz. And I will see you all again at some point. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, that's everything. Okay everyone, bye.